I asked the questions about this Indian relevance to India. So please, would you like to elaborate?
Well, I mean, we know, first of all, this Gallery of Honor,
Yeah.
it's pretty extraordinary to have works made relatively recently in a gallery with, great masterpieces that have been looked at for hundreds of years, 200 and 300 years. Like the great canon of European art, Vermeer, Rembrandt, Frans Hals, etc. The other side of that is, as we were just saying, that Rembrandt had a connection with Indian miniature painting. And I'm not sure whether it's true that he actually owned some.
This is mentioned in one of the captions upstairs.
Yeah,
and then,
but I know that there was a connection, that he looked at them, that he was deeply interested in this idea of a very concentrated vision around, which happens especially in portraiture in Indian miniature painting. So he was very concerned with that connection. So it's a weird circle, isn't it?
Yeah,
that now I'm coming back with in the gallery next to Rembrandt.
But you started off with the Indian pigments, which was which we see before Holi everywhere. And then even the void was also Indian.
Yeah.
So do you have this concurrent theme somewhere in the subconscious level also?
Well, I'm Indian. I grew up in India. So, as I was saying, I grew up in India. I was born there. I went to school there, etc., etc. It's absolutely part of my whole psychic world. Is a certain Indian view of life, mythologically, from the point of view of color and what color does, what color is. I made hundreds of works over the years using the color red. We have
the Indian red, which is different from Chinese.
we have a very particular understanding of red. But red, of course, and I'm interested in it from many different perspectives. Mythologically, from an Indian perspective, but also that physically, we are red. Our insides are red, and red as a phenomenological thing, red has a kind of darkness in it. Red is dark; it's much darker than black, because its space is the space of color is psychological. It isn't just physical. So there's that sense of something of interior darkness that red evokes. So I've always been fascinated by that. And then, of course, undeniably, the earth is red. So all these things that we connect with and come out of are associated in a very real way with color, with this color. But all color acts like that. And that's a major operator for me. Something I keep coming back to.
And even in, I was in Versailles Gardens, and I saw the red, and it becomes darker because the depth of field. And I was wondering if the galleries, which they should have marketed that concept, Indian concept, then they should, the controversy could have a different dimension, or there should not have been any controversy, because then the marketing language could have been used differently, Indian connection. Like uni concept of uni,
of course.
Which is important.
Of course, very important. It's a ridiculous story, in a way. The whole story in Versailles was completely ridiculous.
I don't think the caption, they should have mentioned the uni concept.
The moment, that, if you like, the feminine object, this thing is, hardly sexual. It's an abstract object.
But even if it is sexual, upstairs, the Asian gallery is full of sexual motifs.
Of course.
Durga and all of them, it's violence at the same time, softness, tenderness.
So we understand that in our cultural context. It's strange. It's strange that in France, in spite of its so-called liberal view, that it's not understood. And that the moment that there's a kind of feminine object, it's okay to pour hate upon it. That's what they did. So art has this power to attract some underbelly of society. And that's an interesting thing that happened in Versailles, a very troubling thing.
Very paradoxical also, because France is the symbol of women. France represents she.
That's theoretically. Theoretically, not actually.
Yes,
clearly not actually. It shows that there is this great tension in French society. It showed around this work. It wasn't vandalized once; it was vandalized 4 times, and
the
quite
last time was
very aggressively.
Anti-Semitic,
terrible, violent.
In the beginning, they were emphasizing your mother coming from the Jewish background, but not so much about Indian background, which comes from your father and living in Bombay.
Of course.
So,
of course,
that's also important, very important.
Of course, it's. One of the great things about the Indian context is that it's always been very open to multivarious cultural comings and goings. That is to say, a good portion of Indian society is, from somewhere else, Muslim, not Hindu, etc., etc. Good portion of Indian society.
And I was talking to Jews in Kochi, and they said this is the only country which gave them shelter, land, synagogue. Other countries were persecuting and prosecuting them. And then nowadays, when they go to Israel, they are coming back because they find discrimination in Israel. They are darker in skin. So the Jews are much happier in India. So anyway, what would you like to say about the new work, and what's the connection with Rembrandt?
Well, I've had a picture of Rembrandt's flayed image of a bull, which he made this image 350 years ago. I had a picture of it in my studio for a long time, and in art, of course, the body has always in all art always been a kind of central theme. The body as a place of suffering. The body as a place of joy, the body as a place of tenderness, and sometimes we represent it in animals, and sometimes we represent it in the human figure, etc. Now, I've never made any directly figurative art. It's just not what I am really interested in. These paintings, I say paintings, but they're more like reliefs, really. These reliefs. Between painting and sculpture, are made with silicon. Silicon is material. It's like a physical paint. 3D paint. They are, of course, very bodily. It's like the insides kind of. So it's like the painting's being turned inside out.
But you've added paint sometimes.
I've added color. They're full of all sorts of things. But it's as if the whole painting has been turned inside out. So it's like the inside body of the painting is without an image, but it's a body. It's a physical blood and guts kind of thing. And of course, that has a connection with Rembrandt, with the historical question of the body in art, and so on.
But when you were making this, you didn't have an idea it will be shown with the Rembrandt?
Not at all. In the studio, it's a free space to make and think, and then make the work, put it in the world in some way or the other, if it feels right, and then it has a life of its own. So this is its life. Somehow it's ended up here. It's great.
But your work also. It puts people in a situation where they have introspection and extrospection. So that also, does it work here?
Well, you have to tell me that. I can't answer that part of it. But my feeling is that that these are very confrontational works. They're very right there, and of course, they're aggressive and very physical. I sense that can be introspective. That there is something in that which pushes you into the space of the object. It takes away any distance, if you like, and the speculation is about our own interiority. Who knows? A very physical kind of thing.
And it's a great coincidence. There's another Indian sculptor who is showing his work. There's a light festival starting this Saturday, and it's some design, I don't know about it. It's light, commissioned especially, and it's a circle, Indian circles, which are colorful. And you see the reflection, it becomes one circle, it rings into European colors.
I see.
Yeah, it's by the canal.
Oh yeah, I think I drove past it yesterday.
Yeah.
I was wondering what it is. Yes.
That's an Indian, the circles. And then when you see from the canal, the reflection, it's worth taking this canal boat ride.
Very nice.
Thank you very much.